Europe has always been on my bucket list of places to visit, and thanks to GLOBUS and Non-Stop Travel, I'd finally get my chance.
We're going, dude.
There is a lot of flight time involved, and I do mean a lot. Our trek started with a 6-hour flight from Honolulu to Seattle, then another 10 hours from Seattle to Paris, and then another 2 hours to Madrid.
Yeah, folks, from the flight deck, your first officer speaking. We have started our descent into the Paris area. Current time is coming up on...
So we just arrived in beautiful France.
While I was delighted to be in France, even for just a few hours, I will say that Charles de Gaulle Airport is a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. Navigating our way through the airport here was beyond challenging, and getting the wrong directions from airport staff didn't help either. Regardless, the 808 group and I finally found our gate, and we were ready for Spain.
On to Spain, here we go, let's go!
Surrounded by fantastic architecture and history, and with a population of over 6.7 million people, Madrid has been the capital of Spain since the 17th century. In fact, with regard to its history, Madrid has been inhabited since prehistoric times. The city of Madrid was founded in the 9th century during the Arab occupation of southwestern Europe's Iberian Peninsula. After a total of 26 hours split between flights and airport layovers, we finally arrived in Madrid. Thankfully, our hotel was only 30 minutes from the airport. We checked into El Gran Hotel Cercote Conde, headed back out to forage for food and meet up with some friends.
Headshot, dude. We're here. Mercado de San Miguel, and we're gonna have our first meal here in Spain, and it's gonna be awesome.
Nice to meet you. Lot of meat. It's nice that you have a picture.
Hi, hello, nice to meet you. My name is Noemi, and I am from Honolulu, and I'm in Europe right now. I'm just solo traveling. I got here about a month ago, and I plan to spend a couple more weeks here, but it's just so many new experiences and so much culture and beautiful people and places, and yeah, nice to meet you.
Beautiful city, beautiful people, like you said, Noemi, and also new friends.
My new friend, Lorena.
Hello, I'm from Germany. I just met her a couple of days ago in Porto, so now we're traveling a bit together, and I ended up in Madrid. It wasn't planned, but it's pretty nice, so I'm happy to be here and enjoy with you time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So we're connecting Japan, Hawaii, Germany, in Madrid, Spain.
In Madrid.
Let's eat.
It's so good.
Yes. Bye. Salud. Cheers. Bye. Sangria.
Yeah, Iberian ham.
Iberian ham.
That's really nice. This is like the Spanish korokke, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Spanish focus. That's right.
I couldn't think of a better way to celebrate our GLOBUS and Non-Stop Travel Spain and Portugal adventure. Iberian ham cured for 2 years, tapas, and pictures of sangria with Noemi and Lorena at Maison Rincon de la Cava was the perfect way to start our day here in Madrid.
Obviously, I'm thinking about what to eat. We're in Madrid, Spain, folks. I can't believe I'm even saying that. It felt like a 1,000-hour flight or so to get here. Honolulu to Seattle, Seattle to France, and then from Paris, France, here to Madrid. But loving every second while we're here, folks. The people, the places, the food, the colors, the architecture, the history. I'm a huge history nut. And now we're gonna spend our afternoon learning more about the historical side of Spain, as well as kind of get a vibe for more of the cultural side of this beautiful city. And I can't wait to show all of you folks our new adventures here from Europe. Take care, aloha. we're here, first full day in Spain, on a tour to the Museum del Prado, which is right below here. There's our group.
Located in central Madrid, designed in 1785 and founded in 1819, the Prado Museum houses the world's richest collection of European art dating from the 12th to early 20th century. Masterpieces from some of the world's most renowned and celebrated artists, such as El Greco, Diego Velázquez, Francisco de Goya, and José de Ribera, are amongst the 8,200 drawings, 7,600 paintings, and 1,000 sculptures displayed across the museum. After an unforgettable morning and experience at the Prado Museum, we traveled an hour northwest of Madrid to the mountainous area of San Lorenzo de El Escorial. The non-stop travel group split up and I decided to walk around and try my hand at random roulette restaurant reconnaissance, eventually picking a spot for lunch. I was kind of nervous to see what a dining experience would be like in a place I've never been before, especially with zero ability to speak the language. Meaning the number 4, Cuatro is one of 4 celebrated family businesses in this area, and I found out after the fact that it's one of the top-rated eateries here. Cuatro's wide variety of dishes, excellent service, and great prices resulted in a total win.
Salud! Oh, this is really good. This is really good. This is their variation of a sangria. It's kind of like a happier fruit punch. We're quite happy right now. We're all venturing on our own to find lunch. So I'm embarrassed to say this is the first time I actually asked in any country I've been if they have an English menu, and I know. So I just asked our friend the waiter to suggest whatever he thought was good. Let's eat. It's perfection right here. I can't even pronounce that thing, but it's so good. It's so tender. The gravy is wonderful. It reminds me of like a Wellington sauce. And I gotta tell you, this meat just falls off and it just kind of crumbles. Lunch 1 in Spain. Thumbs up, big time. Yeah, let me move over to the salad here. Looks like there's kind of like a creme brulee kind of glaze the top. Balsamic vinegar oil is wonderful. Ah, so good. Wonderful, beautiful.
After a great lunch, the group and I headed to UNESCO World Heritage Site and one-time residence of the King of Spain, the Monasterio de El Escorial. The complex was built in 1584 by King Philip II as a burial place for his father, King Charles V, while also serving as a grand palace to rule his empire that spanned from Mexico to Manila. This walled city was constructed by Juan Bautista de Toledo, whose career in architecture included the construction of St. Peter's Basilica while working in Rome for Michelangelo and Pope Paul III. The El Escorial is a monastery, library, and palace with an underground necropolis serving as the final resting ground for many of Spain's royalty. Our day of education and exploration continued as we headed to the Sierra de Guadarrama mountain range. On our drive over, we could immediately see the 500-foot granite cross that sits atop the hillside overlooking the most divisive monument in Spain. The Valley of the Fallen is a memorial and Catholic basilica built between 1940 and 1958 under the orders of dictator Francisco Franco. From 1936 to 1939, Franco and the nationalist faction led the military insurgency that succeeded in overthrowing the existing Spanish government. The Valley of the Fallen was meant to be a symbol of atonement and reconciliation, marking the end of the Spanish Civil War. While Franco claimed the structure would serve as a memorial, many felt it resembled more of a shrine to his victory. With an estimated 500,000 lives lost as a result of the war, including over 100,000 civilians who were summarily executed, the Valley of the Fallen's serene yet somber mausoleum is a bittersweet reminder of Spain's torrential past, governed under its longest dictatorship. The Non-Stop Travel group and I had an absolutely fantastic day immersed in history and made our way back to Madrid. A gathering place since the 17th century and a key landmark for both residents and visitors alike, the Plaza Mayor was once the site of public executions during the Spanish Inquisition and a former bullfighting arena. These days, however, the Plaza Mayor is now a marketplace featuring a variety of restaurants and shops filled with many symbols of Spain's history, making this a must-visit locale while in the city. There is one thing that it took a while to get used to. It was almost 8 p.m., dinner time, and the sun was still out.
Looks good. Dinner time. Cheers, everybody. Happy birthday. Kampai. Salud. Salud. It's dinner time. It's about 8 p.m. here in Madrid, Spain, and I'm with, of course, an incredible group. Beautiful people next to me. It looks like we have breakfast for dinner. 8 p.m. breakfast. Right there. Yeah. Oh. It's like a omelet with a hash brown kind of mixed together. These are only appetizers, don't worry. We had a full day today exploring Madrid's incredible history.
Roasted baby lamb shoulder, vegetarian paella, and salmon were our main courses. The food and festivities here at Los Gallos Tavern was a great way to celebrate this GLOBUS Non-Stop Travel Spain and Portugal tour.
Salmon here in Madrid.
Teresita and Clay thoroughly enjoyed their dinner selections and especially their drinks.
Cheers, Clay. That's how.
A pretty sizable custard-filled pastry with cherries was our dessert, and the 808 group celebrated with a few more cheers and a lot more glasses of wine. The next morning, the Non-Stop Travel group and I headed to the town of Segovia. Located in the Castilla y León region, Segovia is considered to be one of the most beautiful small towns in Spain and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Segovia's multicultural communities resulted in a blend of religions amongst the Muslim, Jewish, and Christian inhabitants that worked, prospered, and lived together during the 16th century. Built between 1525 and 1577, the Gothic-style Roman Catholic Segovia Cathedral was constructed on the highest elevated point in the city. Dedicated to the Virgin Mary, the cathedral overlooks Segovia's main town square, the Plaza Mayor. Part fortress, royal palace, museum, state prison, and military academy, the Alcazar de Segovia is a medieval castle that is one of the top visited sites in Spain. With its strikingly stark design, this majestic citadel started as an Arab fort and eventually became a favorite palace for many of Spain's ruling kings. It's no wonder the monolithic, yet fairy tale-like castle was a direct inspiration for Walt Disney's Snow White as the Wicked Queen's castle, and later as Cinderella's castle, both in animation and in real life at Disneyland and Disney World. Built almost 2,000 years ago by the Roman Emperor Trajan, the Aqueduct de Segovia is as iconic as it is impressive. Standing 100 feet high at its tallest point and built with 24,000 granite blocks without the use of any mortar, the aqueduct is another key Segovia landmark. As we walked under the colossal arches, it was impossible not to be awestruck in amazement at this masonry marvel. The aqueduct is one of the most significant and best preserved Roman constructs and provided fresh water from the surrounding hills to Segovia City, spanning 10 miles until the mid-19th century.
And the Roman Empire has ruled Spain for a good 600 years, 3 centuries before Christ, until the collapse of the Roman Empire around 425. This is how it happened. They pay the peasants, they pay the people. They bring them, they teach them how to cut the stone from the nearby quarries, and how many stones you cut, you bring them to the Romans, and they pay you for it. This is how they make their living. And this is why the construction was so quick, you know. Actually, the Romans came up with something very big in construction, which is the keystone arches. They did not exist, the arches, before. It was until coming the Roman architects known as Hippodyrus, and he's the one actually who had cut the stone in a triangle shape, wide from one edge and narrow from the other, and put them together and make an arch. No matter how heavy it is on the top, it will never collapse. And not because for decoration, it was actually, it has a military purpose. Why? Because to build bridges. And this is why anywhere you go in Europe now, you will find Roman bridges. So those aqueducts, they were all over the places, but this is the most well-preserved one, and you can tell until now. I mean, they are still there because of that.
Being here within these majestic walls will immediately transport you back in time as you traverse through the city's cobblestone roads. The 808 group stopped for a quick lunch after arriving in Avila. Our meal started with refreshing sangria, which we nicknamed a happier fruit punch, and the pork hamburger was absolutely fantastic. As we enjoyed our lunch, our incredible guide, Abadi, continued to share important and interesting facts about our journey.
This gentleman here has been taking us all around the beautiful, historic parts of Spain. I've been all over Asia and filmed in Japan for 14 years.
Wow.
We just did the Mexican Riviera, and to be in Europe is a wonderful thing, and thank you very much for your kindness and taking us around. I was completely amazed by the architecture.
Architecture.
Yes, all around, but it's still also very modern.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of like the marriage between modern and a historical side.
Yeah.
When did this transition happen?
Well, exactly. I mean, Spain and Portugal, they were very much backward, you know, because we have been run by two dictators, Franco dictatorship in Spain and Salazar in Portugal. So after the end of the Second World War in 1945, most of the European countries became democratic because Hitler and the Nazis lost the war, and Mussolini and so on. And we have been, you know, run by dictators, so nobody wanted to come and visit us. Until when becoming a member of the European Union in 1996. And that was actually, you know, a big thing that's happened, a big change to a big modern country like France, England, and Germany. And we wanted to catch up with those people. And definitely the European Union had helped very much both countries, you know, to modernize their infrastructure in order to promote tourism. If you are going to take 50 million tourists coming to Spain a year,
Sure.
another 10 million in Portugal, you need to have a very good infrastructure.
Right.
You know, airports, ports, hotels, you know, and a good, well-trained, workers, people. If you go to Portugal, they speak better English. Why? Because they have a very long-lasting alliance with the British. Spain, we've been involved with France, and French was the second language, and this is why the difference. So the people who learn English here in Spain, they learn it with a very big, heavy accent. Sometimes you may hear a Spanish talking English. This is like he learned his English from a Japanese teacher in Czechoslovakia.
As always, mahalo for tuning in to Doko Ga TV, right here on Hawaii News Now, K5, KHNL, and KJMB, and see you next week for part 2 of our Europe Mania video diary series. Aloha!